Lord be with you. Today's reading is from the book of Matthew.
I got it. We're good. We're gonna do something else. I can take it from here. Thank you. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, returned from Jordan and was led into the wilderness, where for 40 days he was tempted by the devil. He ate nothing at all during those days, and when they were over, he was famished. The devil said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command this stone to become a loaf of bread." And Jesus answered him, "It is written, one does not live by bread alone." See, I always have a hard time relating to these stories because temptation is not so much a biblical thing, but a people thing, right? So let's talk about people. Temptation. When will we be ready? Will we ever be ready? Control is a very powerful thing. Control of the self, control of the mind. To find your way through the darkness, we need strength. You see, quite a long time ago, I was rotten. I looked rotten. I thought rotten. My mother would leave me places. You know, she would pretend to drive away and then never come back. And when I finally made it home alive by some miracle, she would say to me, "Bernard, don't you get it? You're so rotten that no one would ever want to steal you." But I didn't want to be rotten. You see, I wish she could have seen me when I was by myself, because the me on the inside, it began to flower, began to come alive. But she never believed me. Never believed me. So I made a decision to convert. I studied to be nice. Now, at first, it wasn't easy. It didn't happen overnight. But then one day, just like that, it ran amok inside of me. You see, I got dependent on it. I got nicer and nicer, even when it wasn't required. I was nice. Men, right here in this church, stopped confessing sexual events to me. Women began to think of me as a friend. You see, I tried to cut down. Believe me, I did. But I had lost the power of choice. You see, I was in that wilderness, starving, lost. I was tempted by niceness, and it beat me down. So I made a decision. I made a big decision to find my way back to rottenness. So I devised a plan. Very simple, breadcrumbs. A path leading all the way back to my rotten self. One by one, crumb by crumb, wherever I went, I had a way back home. But I slipped, as we all do sometimes. It was a bit of an accident, completely unintentional, just a minor miscalculation. You see, she wasn't even that attractive, but I felt bad for her. So I had to take her on a second date. But then she spent the whole night talking about the first date, so I had to take her on a third date. Had to, just to see how much I could take. So I walk her home that night, and I'm throwing out my breadcrumbs immediately, because I can feel something, right? I can feel it. We all have that strange and unfamiliar thing just pulling at me, and I feel like I'm being swallowed alive. And then I said to her, "Can I kiss you?" You believe that? I don't know what came over me, but I said it, and she said yes. So there we are, just little pecks, just like this. And it was absolute magic, you see, but something started to change in me. And the whole time, I was thinking, "Run, you coward! Run, you sinner! Run, you heathen! Follow the crumbs!" But you couldn't. I couldn't. It was niceness eating away at me. Don't you understand? I want to be rotten. I prayed for the strength to be rotten, but I had to keep seeing her. It was my own fault. My own goddamn fault. One little taste of goodness, and I'm in the middle of a hurricane, hanging on for dear life. The wind is blowing my fucking hands, and I'm throwing out breadcrumbs like a madman, but she never said anything. So I was thinking, wow, what a compassionate person. This could be something good, but I don't want something good, but I could use something good. God damn it. So then I took her to a place. She wanted to go see a musical. So I'm like, all right. So I buy tickets, but they were for the wrong night. So she said to me, we'll go next week. So I'm like, fine. So we leave there, and we went to we went bowling. But the wait was too long and the balls were too heavy. So we left, and I said something about a psychic. She goes, great. Yes, let's go see a psychic. So I'm like, all right, so we drive around all night. We're looking for a psychic, but they're all closed. So she goes, we're going to go next week. And I'm like, fine. So I walk her home, and I'm throwing out my breadcrumbs. My arm is getting tired. And then she says to me, she goes, oh, my God, what if the psychic tells us to break up? And I'm like, what? What? Like, are you nuts? Are you out of your mind? Don't you understand? I feel good. I feel nice. Nice. For the first time in my life, I feel alive. And then I kissed her, and she disappeared for days. Nothing. Nothing at all. And I'm thinking, where did you go? Where did you go? Why do you always leave me? They always leave me. And I'm thinking, crumbs. Crumbs followed the crumbs. Little animal, little bird, follow the crumbs. Good morning. Let me feed you, little animal. Crumbs, crumbs, crumbs. I'm thinking, leave me. Why do you always leave me? And I gotta be nice, 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 and crumbs, crumbs, crumbs. Follow the crumbs, follow the crumbs. So then last night, after she's crawled out of the hole that she's been hiding in, I take her to the movies. And I can't get rid of this feeling that just keeps. So we walk out. And immediately, I start throwing out my breadcrumbs. And you were looking at me like you just weren't going to shut up. So you asked me, you said, Bernard, what are you doing? And I said, I'm throwing out breadcrumbs. Because I have a horrible sense of direction, and I need to find my way home later. And you laughed, right? Like it was a big joke. A big joke! Ha-ho! So I said to you, I don't understand why my personal problems always have to make such a big joke. And you said, Bernard, you're never gonna find your way home. And I said, we all have our own way of finding ourselves, and who's to say that your way is any better than my way? And then you said something about you can't make a whole philosophy out of breadcrumbs. And I said, of course I can. And I have. And it's worked for me. And it's gotten me from point A to point Z. Who the And then an amazing thing happened. I completely forgot to throw out my breadcrumbs. And I had no problem finding my way back home. I'm a rotten son of a bitch!